Sunday at 7, 7:00. Gonna see if anybody's as prompt as I am. I know that you takes a minute to click in and get your audio going and get your. I wish. I still wish I could see your faces. That would be so much more fun for me. Let's see whether or not. I'll see who the first one is that pops on and says hey to me. And then I will know that we are ready to roll and ready to get started. I can't wait. Can't wait. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm so excited to see your little face. Oh, I should say your little face is on that little, on the screen over there. Thank you for coming on. It's so nice to see you. Now I see some people. I am excited to have another Sunday at 7, and it's our fourth gathering. And as usual, you are my excuse to get dressed up. So honestly, this week, the only place I went was for a walk outside in the cold. And so I really did get dressed up. And I showed you the boots on Facebook, but the prerogative of a woman is to change her mind. And so I decided with this ensemble that those boots wouldn't be perfect, but I do need to show you the way that it all goes together. Okay, remember we've got the belt, but what we've got are these pants, and maybe let's see if you can see that they've got that little bit of sparkle. Look at all the colors. Can you see? And they're kind of iridescent, and there's that gold in there that goes with the jacket. I wanted to make sure that you kind of can see that. And then, let's see, maybe I could back up a little bit and we could, oh, can we see? No, not really. Okay, well, we had to do the boot and we had to get a little bit of gold on the heel. It had to be a short boot with these pants, but, kind of to match everything. Oh, I was told that it was a good thing to spend a couple minutes at the beginning to get everybody in. So I did. I got you here. Hey, if you sent me your email, I sent you a 2-page quiz that kind of looked, oh wait, let's see. Yeah, that looked like this. So you should have received that. And if you did, would you put your score in the comments on the side? And your score could be anywhere between 5 and 150. And next to the score, I want you to say yes or no if you think the assessment was accurate. And if you didn't get the quiz and you would like one, please send me your email address, city and state, to jeannie.martin@gmail.com. And I bet somebody will pop that on there for me. It's jeanie.martin@gmail.com. And Katie, maybe you'll put that on for me. And if you add it in this feed, I'll try to catch all of them there, or you can just send me that email. So let me know if you took the quiz, what you got, and how accurate you think it is. So here we are. It's Sunday, okay, at 7, January 31st, 2021. On December 13th, I talked about uncertainty and hope. On December 20th, it was vision boards and dreams. And on January 10th, grit and your pandemic story. Today, we're talking on one word: charisma. Here's what I believe. When you listen to a speaker who gets into your head and kind of grabs your heart, she's got it, charisma. When you meet someone new, you have a real short conversation and you walk away feeling good about yourself, he's got it, charisma. When you have an interaction and you want to get to know that person better, learn from her, listen to her, and be in her space, she's got it, charisma. Would you want to know what people think when they meet you? Do you have it, charisma? Every day, you walk through life making an impression. It used to be You could make a professional impact with a sharp suit and tie or a pair of heels and a perfect shade of lipstick. Now, with so much of our business life and social life on screens with Zoom and Facebook, there are a few standards of dress. In fact, many people on Zooms are probably only half dressed. So if it's not as important how you're dressed, how do you leave an impression with people? A Harvard study says that you've got all of 7 seconds to make a first impression. Did you realize first impression evaluations are made between 2 to 7 seconds? Were you aware that we decide if we believe someone, if we like someone, and if we trust someone before we've even heard him speak? When you walk in a room, when you talk on a Zoom, you make a first impression visually with your posture, with your hands, a little bit. I'd say most significantly with your eye contact. And then it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Harvard School of Research also shows when we first meet someone, we judge them on 2 different traits: their warmth and their competence. When people first see you, the first thing they're thinking is, can I trust you? That equates when I spoke about warmth. Second, can I respect you? That refers to competence. Trust, warmth, respect, competence. Warmth means you're kind, you're compassionate, you're relatable. Competence means you're smart, you're powerful, dependable. Two attributes, warmth and competence. Wouldn't it be great if that's all you needed? Impression made, you're in. However, someone might think you're kind, but they don't remember meeting you. You're compassionate, but they forget your name. You're relatable, but who are you again? Or, sure, you're powerful, but you're cold, not easy to talk to. You're smart, but you're intimidating and not approachable. What's missing? You have both. But what else might a person need to not just make an impression, but a lasting, positive impression? And what you would be missing is charisma. Warmth and confidence, yes. Throw in charisma, and it's a woo! When you add charisma, it puts you at a whole different level of influence. So, what is charisma? Charisma. It isn't magic. It's magnetic. I'm going to call it a mind-controlling superpower. Now, don't get me wrong. Charisma can be gentle and alluring. Charisma. The ability to attract, to charm and appeal to the people around you. It can be soft and intense. And charisma can be powerful, a compelling force of personality, a strength of character, and a dominant presence. It can be loud and flamboyant. Some think charisma has a mysterious quality and that you either have it or don't have it. That is untrue, unequivocally untrue. Charisma can be learned. It's actually possible to break down the key factors that make someone charismatic, and one of the most extensive research studies yet has found that charisma is not so much a gift as a learnable skill that you can master. Let's look at that more closely. I'm going to teach 2 words intrinsically tied to charisma that have followed me through my whole life. First word is scintillating. Can you spell it? It's a delightfully unique word. I like that it kind of surprises you and starts with SC, SCINTILLATING. There aren't many SC words. I taught high school English and speech for over 20 years. I'm fairly confident that if you meet any of my former students and ask about my word, what's Mrs. Martin's word, they're going to tell you that it's scintillating. I even warned my students that I'd forever follow them around because they'd never be able to forget my word. I kind of told those 16-year-olds that one day they'd be parents with a pile of kids in the back seat, and on the radio the word would come up and they'd pause and say, oh yeah, that's that one with the, what's her name, the one with the kind of crazy hair. Do you want to know what it means? Scintillating? It means sparkling and glittering. It means brilliantly and excitingly clever or skillful. And as a teacher, that's what I was always looking for. Scintillating moments with scintillating kids who did scintillating projects and gave scintillating presentations. I encouraged my students to work to be exciting and exhilarating and stimulating and dazzling, and we strived for vivacious and animated and witty moments in our class. And I'd remind them that scintillating was like effervescence, the bubbles in pop. And I claimed, my word is scintillating. If you were giving a speech and in my classroom, when you hit scintillating on the Richter scale, you could count on a standing O. That would be a standing ovation. What do you think a kid would do to earn a standing ovation? Amazing things. They really did. I wonder if any of you took a high school or college speech class. Maybe you can type that over there in those comments if you did take a high school or college speech class. And while you're there, I wonder if you remember a speech that you gave for any class that you've ever been in. Or is there any meeting that you presented to? Is there any time that when you presented, you felt really good? I mean, you nailed it. And if you remember it, I want you to type the topic, because I'm betting if you did really well, you remember the topic. And I'm betting that giving that speech, it was scintillating. It was a scintillating moment in your life. Scintillating, that's word number one. Being scintillating is aspiration number one as we're working on charisma. While teaching, I started a side hustle in a direct selling company, and I built a national area in 36 states with over 1,500 directors and consultants, and we became known as the IT National Area. That's word number two, IT. I want to show you this book. I'm not the one who came up with the concept of it. It came from that book. In fact, I first heard of that book and of it when I attended a global leadership conference. Craig Groeschel, the pastor of Life Church, spoke at that conference about his book, It. His book. It's all about churches and leaders who grow mega churches from little groups that start out in a storefront. And Craig says that these churches grow because they have it. I devoured this book, and I found that having it transferred to the business world. It transfers to schools. It transfers to nonprofits. It transfers to their leaders as well. You may even be familiar with the it factor. I'm going to use a little business lingo here, and I'm going to give an explanation of what I learned about it. See, some national areas, they have it, some don't. Most units want it, a few. They have it for a while, and then it goes away. And when a unit has it, everyone can tell. And when one doesn't, everyone can tell. Same is true with people. Some directors have it, some had it, but don't now. And it, or itlessness, is obvious. It is always unique. It is always powerful. It is always life-changing. It's hard to find. It's impossible to miss. And anyone who's ever had it wants it back. By now, you're probably asking, what is it? My answer is, I don't know. Really, I don't. But I'm confident that it is in charisma. So there you have it. 3 of my favorite words, intrinsically connected. When you're scintillating and have it, you have charisma. When a speaker shows confidence, exuberance, optimism, a ready smile, expressive body language, and a friendly, passionate voice, when she does all of that, we are listening to a charismatic, scintillating speaker who probably has it. Back to the research that says you're not born with charisma. It can be taught. If you are at one of my workshops right now, I'd divide you into small groups and dig in to figure out how you come across when you're speaking. And eventually I'd pull you up front and I'd give you a chance to work on how to show energy and improve your charisma. But I can't do that in this genre of Facebook Live. So today, what I can do is talk about three of the characteristics needed to build charisma when you speak. The 3 are plan it, feel it, and deliver it. We're going to start with these 3 components of charisma that, when learned, gets you one step closer to charisma. So number one is plan it. Make it look effortless. That's when you make a speech come alive. See, charismatic speakers, they are self-confident and assured. They don't appear nervous or ill at ease. And why is that? Because you get better with practice. You gain confidence with more experience. And I strongly suggest that planning your meeting, planning your class assignment, planning your presentation or your own assignment will make a huge difference. Let me tell you about a woman I know who was quite charming and comfortable in front of an audience. She prided herself on talking without notes ever. I speak from the heart, she'd say, and it worked. It worked most of the time. There might be a little rambling, and maybe she'd say, let me wrap it up. And then 5 or 10 minutes later, she'd say, let me close. And then eventually she'd finish. But see, let me tell you about this one speech. It was an incredible honor to be asked. And she was speaking to the entire company. She worked on what she was going to say for weeks. And when she stood at a podium in front of an audience of probably 6,000 people, there wasn't a sound to be heard. And at the end, not a dry eye in the house. And that speech was put on tape and then on a CD. And now it's the company's, it's in their digital library, and it's still talked about reverently years later. And that one, that never to be forgotten speech, it was prepared. If what you're it kind of almost sounds counterintuitive, like I want to sound spontaneous, but see, practice is essential. If what you're sharing is important, you're going to practice till you know it cold. Malcolm Gladwell says, practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good. When you put in the time to orchestrate and choreograph, you make speaking look easy, and that's a step towards charisma. Number 2 is feel it. It's your passion and emotions that give off the energy that will attract and motivate. And how does that happen? You need enthusiasm. Now, it's not just your enthusiasm for the topic or the cause or the product you're selling. Are you enthusiastic about sharing with your audience because you really believe they're going to enjoy and need what you're going to say? Why would I spend a Sunday night talking about charisma? Because I want to see what you're going to do with it. I've taught speech. I had kids who stood in front of a class and their left knee wouldn't stop shaking. I had a kid who dripped sweat while standing up front, and I had a girl who begged me to let her off the hook and not debate that opponent. And every one of those kids, they got better. Remember that Facebook Live when I talked about how a true leader shows, what does they show? I care, you matter. Well, that's the formula for a charismatic speaker. I care, you matter. Because when you're presenting, you're the leader who has to care about your audience. You got to get out of yourself and into someone else's head. You have to risk to be brave. You got to stop thinking about your own insecurities. You forget about how great you are at what you're talking about. Instead, think about how you can connect and help someone else be great because of your experience and knowledge. I wonder, is someone listening who hates speaking in front of an audience or truly feels fear when they're asked to train in front of their peers? Is someone on here who says they hate meetings, but they're the ones in charge of the meetings? Do you dread having to meet someone new? Are you shy and quiet around people you think are smarter than you or have a bigger title? Charisma can change all that. It starts with how much you care. Now, if you're listening and you think you do okay in front of an audience, but really, would you want to rock your next presentation? Do you want your boss to call you with compliments or your peers to say, whoa, what got into you? I don't know if you're out there, but if you want to go to that next level, you're who I'm talking to. I'll agree. It isn't always easy, but here's the deal. If you can't see it in my eyes, if you can't hear it in my voice, if you don't believe that I want you to get better and be the best that you can be, if you don't believe that I want somebody out there to text me, call me, or message me that you're working on your own brand of charisma and you're getting better, if you don't believe that's why I'm doing this, then I'm not doing it right. Sure, you need passion for your topic or your project. But when you care about who you're talking to, and you care more about helping, and you care less whether someone notices that you stutter a little when you're nervous or that you gained a few pounds, that kind of authentic caring, that grows your charisma. Third characteristic, quiet and dull never sold anything. Let's look at number 3, deliver it. You need to wake up your audience. Yes, it's tone of voice. It's micro expressions. It's your posture as you're leaning in, not walking back. And when you get it all right, they're going to get a feeling that they trust you and that they like listening to you. And they might even be willing to do an assignment that you give them. A good part of deliver it is eye contact, the ability to meet and maintain someone's gaze. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of human connection. Anyone remember hearing that the eyes are the window into the soul? Look in my eyes and see how much I love you. Or do you remember, look at me when I'm talking to you? Looking, it's associated with honesty and trustworthiness and sincerity. Avoiding eye contact is most often associated with lack of confidence, and that leads to a lack of leadership ability. I have a soft-spoken, used to be really shy grandchild. She's a teenager now, and she's gaining confidence. The last time I visited, we went shopping, and I watched her at a restaurant and a retail store, and it has never been easy for her to talk to a waitress or a clerk. Now, I admit, I have told her, if you don't ask for help yourself, we're leaving and I'm not buying. Lately, oh my gosh, she's so much better. And when a hostess asked her a question, she answered. And afterwards, when I gently mentioned that she should look that lady in the eye, I know, Grandma, she said, rolling her eyes just a little. And she does know, and she's much more confident. Do you have any idea how proud I am of her? We all start at different places in our charisma journey, and everyone can get better. We all aren't going to be the next George Clooney, Dalai Lama, Craig Rochelle, but we can get better. If while I was speaking, you were scrolling on your phone, if you were talking to your husband, if you were walking in and out of the room, I didn't have it. I didn't have charisma today. Now, I can assure you, if I'd been in the room with you, and when you chair or a desk right in front of me, ooh, I'd have made it a whole lot harder for you to ignore me. You ask any of my former students, they might even tell you about the look. But if I caught your interest, I'm going to continue teaching about charisma in some upcoming Facebook Lives. I got way too much information to share it all tonight. See, it takes talking about it, and then you have to have some time and practice on one element to get better, and then be ready to work on another element. And from what I'm learning about Facebook Lives, ooh, I probably should be shortening my lessons to maybe 10 minutes instead of the 30. And I might try. I'm going to try doing a couple short ones in the next few weeks. But right now, I'm going to leave you with an assignment and a highlight reel of what I want you to think about. Charisma. It allows you to charm and influence others. Charisma, it gets you friends. Charisma gets you A's. Charisma gets you jobs. And charisma gets you promotions. And don't you forget that. Charisma starts with how you meet and interact with people. And sometimes it's with people that you know. Your assignment is going to be all about eye contact, and hopefully in this quarantine pandemic, you're going to see a few live bodies this week, and if not, you're going to have to do this with family. But the number is 5. It's 5 by Friday. 5 people that you have to intentionally talk to for at least 5 minutes. And you have to make a point to have eye contact the whole time. I mean, you have to be able to tell me the color of their eyes. And if you really get good, when you look in their eyes, you're going to learn not to look at them, but to look in their eyes. And your facial expression, it's going to show that you care about them. There's more to eye contact than you think. Some of you in business, you're kind of scoffing at how basic this sounds, and this really isn't for you. You already do that eye contact. Well, let me assure you, there's a book out, and it's called Death by Meetings, and some of you have been in charge of those meetings. And if you're a leader, you need to care enough about your people to be humble enough and willing enough to get better, not only with your meetings, but with your conversations with individual people that you're responsible for, or that you want to know better. So right now, I know I can't see you, but right now, would you look at me and would you, with your eyes, would you show me that you care? Would you do it with your eyes? I challenge you. It may take practice. But if you're willing to take on my assignment with eye contact, 5-minute conversations with 5 people by Friday, you're going to get better. Now, some of those people, they might be a little intimidated. Mark my words, they will. To last 5 minutes, you're going to have to ask questions, and then you're going to have to listen. And while you're listening, that's when you are looking in their eyes and you are looking with caring on your face. This week on my Facebook page, I'm going to be adding posts that I'd like you to respond to. And by next Friday, I'm going to expect you to have 5 done. Now, I hope you're a person who does the work assigned, even if it's hard or it seems a little weird. I hope you're a person who is accountable to the teacher. I hope you'll check in during the week. You also might send me an email or private message me with details. This week's assignment is 5 eye-locking conversations of at least 5 minutes. Okay, you've heard about scintillating. You know that some people want to have it, and you've got an inkling of why you want to improve your charisma factor. If you do what I ask and you continue to listen to my other Facebook Lives and work on other elements and characteristics that I'm going to share, like storytelling and stage presence and endorphins and magnetism, you're going to get better because I'm invested and I want to help you. Slowly, we're going to unfold the magic that it takes to move and mesmerize an audience. Charisma can be yours. Claim it.